Okay, looks like we're live. Hey everybody, Ben here from DMC Films and Cinder Block Studios, and welcome to a new series of live hangouts called Cinder Block Studios Live, or just Cinder Block Live. I'll probably say either throughout the course of the night. So, episode 1 today, we're going to be talking about driving with a creative GPS. How you can work when you don't feel inspired. Some tips and tricks for that. All of us here tonight, we're going to be working on some drawing ourselves. And our guests for today are Dede and Lucas. Dede, if you want to start by introducing yourself, tell us who you are, where they can find your work, and whatever else you want to say.
All right. Well, I'm Dede, and I've watched all of Ben's. I've been following him on YouTube for a long time, and I do an occasional hangout with him. And I do use streams. My show's called Coffee and Art in the Morning, and I usually stream a couple, 2-3 times a week, and it's at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm out of Atlanta, and so some people accuse me of streaming in the middle of the night, but really 9 a.m. And that's my job. I'm an artist. I do commissions. I do portraits in pencil, in colored pencil, and I do pet portraits in acrylic. But I draw a little of everything, and I've been an artist pretty much all my life, although my husband's retired military, so I've moved over 30 times in my life, so I've had all kinds of different jobs, but I've always done art no matter what other job I've had. And so now for the past, I'd say maybe 10 years, I've been just doing just my art. So. And tonight I'm just going to play around with some animals.
All right, next up we have Lucas, who many of you know as...
Apology 89.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, say who you are, Apology 89 on YouTube. Anything else you want to throw in there, or is that...
No. Hi, I'm Lucas.
Whatever you want to use, I don't care.
Apology is an alias, along with my middle name, which is coincidentally Ben.
So when you're nailed to a police car and they say, "Do you have any aliases?"
Apology 89. I am a senior student in college, nowhere near graduating though. I study environmental science. I like to paint and draw and read a lot. And I'm an avid full-time Doctor Who fan. Yeah.
All right then. So, thanks you guys for joining me today on the live show, episode 1. Even though this I think would have been like, if it was a regular live hangout, would have been like 43. So I've been doing them for quite a while, and learned a few things along the way. Hopefully, I mean, I hope it's not pretty obvious. But everyone talks about what they've been doing, and in case you guys don't know who I am at this point, if you're a new subscriber, or if you're new to the channel, or found the live show through just the main Google Plus hub, my name is Ben Yockel. I am a sort of part-time artist. I work here in the studio making paintings. I would like to try and sell them online at some point, but haven't had a lot of luck there. But my main focus is right here on YouTube, making videos, tips, tutorials, and all that cool stuff, both showcasing my paintings and teaching you guys about traditional media. So, if there's anyone out there watching this evening that would like to ask a question about traditional media, feel free to do so throughout the course of the night. And if not, if you're seeing this after the live event, feel free to keep asking questions. I will get to them as soon as I can. So, to start things off, I am working on a variety of different projects. I'm prepping for a brand new painting, which of course doesn't have a title. Doesn't have a title yet, but I'm going to be working on this yellow canvas. I tinted it yellow. So, yeah, I'm playing with ideas of rocks and forests and cities and all that fun stuff. So before I do that, I'm down here in the studio working in watercolor and colored pencil and other forms of mixed media in order to sort of figure out the final concept for the overall piece. I think that was it.
Excuse me, did you just say acrylic pencil?
Did I say acrylic pencil? I
Yeah.
think I said colored pencil, but I.
No, but I was like, is this an awesome medium that I have yet to hear of? And I was like about to just run off and speed to Michael's and look for
I'll
some.
tell you what. I will invent acrylic pencils just for you.
Yes!
And I will sell them directly to you, and you will be my only customer, and I will be a millionaire. Because
I'm pretty
because
sure
it'll be a
there'll be-
monopoly, and I can raise the price.
Taking my money they earn from
Being
side
a poor student.
commissions. I am a poor student.
Ben, you were
Well, that's the thing is, all students are poor.
Not all students.
If you're a
so
student, you're
sometimes
poor.
very
Let's be
privileged.
honest.
Ben, you were mentioning something about talking about working when you're not inspired. What was it? How did you put it?
Well, I saw one of the things is one of the ways I get ideas for shows and for posts, and I've been doing things in my DeviantArt that are more like long form, almost like articles. Is I go on the DeviantArt forum and I just look at all the problems people are having, and one, see if I can help them because I'm a troll like that, and two, every now and then something will come up that I'll be like, every now and then something will come up that I'm like, you know what? I bet I can do a longer form answer to this elsewhere. So one of the things I saw was one that said, I lost my drive. And the first thing I thought of was, flash drive? Like I thought it was a computer thing. And then I clicked on it, and my second thought was, did you lose your license and ability to drive? It's like I thought of everything except what the actual question was. So something about, it's like, okay, I'm not feeling inspired, or yeah, maybe I'm in a bit of artist block and that kind of thing.
No.
If you've been working as an artist at all, even as a hobbyist artist, you'll have periods where you don't feel like working. I have them all the time. I just like sit around like, nah, I'm not. I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna work today. And so I took this idea of driving, and I decided, like, well, if you're driving, then you'll need a GPS. So the title of the show is "Driving with a Creative GPS."
Oh.
Subtitle: How to work when you're not feeling inspired. So what can you do to essentially build yourself a creative GPS that when you're feeling lost, you can like go and say, oh, I can do a couple of these things and kind of get myself back on track. Whether it be take the second right or turn around when possible. You're more than welcome to drive around with your creative GPS.
I thought you
A
were...
creative GPS
Title. Creative.
has your voice or... Right, so driving, and yes. That was my long-winded explanation of the title.
It's a creative
So,
way to put it.
I thought it was a reference to something else
Yeah,
that I'm not going to mention here.
Thank you, Lucas.
It's not bad, but
I already know what you...
Ben knows what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
but
okay,
I'm not going
we
to say
get
because
it.
it's spoilers.
Right. Because this is a more well-rounded show that hopefully all ages can watch and learn something from. Okay.
No,
Try and...
it's...
I like the thing is like I try and make it more universal, and then I'll go in the corner and make a cocktail, and it's like, wait, what? So anyhow, but I'm not gonna do that on the show tonight. Well, maybe for the after show. So as long
I'll tell
as
you what I thought it was later.
starting talking about the topic and asking about the topic. Yes. Okay, but actually before we get into the topic, any thoughts that you guys have about how to stay inspired, how to stay active?
It's hard because like I'm kind of bipolar about it because like some days, like when I showed the Zelda painting before the live show, I was very frustrated because of personal events, and sometimes like out of frustration, like I do my best in art, and sometimes like if I'm so extremely frustrated that I just can't concentrate enough, so I just like I can't paint, I can't draw, sometimes if my frustration is so extreme, and sometimes like out of sheer boredom, I'll just produce like amazing pieces of art. Well, not amazing, but works that I'm very happy and kind of proud of. And
I mean, I think that's really very common.
yeah.
Dede, who I think froze.
I'm here. Am I
Oh.
froze?
You there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I think for a second there, I think there was a little bit of a lag.
I
I'm
was
not
just
sure.
paying attention and listening.
Okay.
It probably didn't
So-
move much. Well, having worked
Right.
in different creative fields throughout my life and career, I found that, I mean, you may not feel inspired sometimes to work. You may feel, let me see, I'm kind of crooked there. You may feel like have an off day, or you don't think you feel creative. But the thing is if you ever have a job where you have to be creative or you have to create, and you do it because you have to, you kind of get over that some. And so it helps to, and I think that's just by doing it for so long, for so many years, depending on what creative field you're in. But when you have to create every day as part of your job, some days are better than others, obviously, but you can do it whether you feel like it or not. You may, if you're just at home and just want to do something on your own, you may not feel like it, and because you don't have to, you don't. But I'm of the mind that you can if you want to. It's more about willing to do it rather than feeling like it.
I like that.
That's a really great point. I know I hear that a lot, especially a lot of like the digital concept artists talk about. It's like, well, it's like this is either a commission or client work or something like that. It's like it doesn't matter if you're feeling like it, you have to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But now, like I said, that doesn't mean you always might not create your very best or that you really want to work that day. But my point is you can. It's not like it's impossible for you. It's just that some days you just don't feel like it. But that doesn't mean it's like you can't do it.
Right. You have the physical capability, but
And
you
the
don't
more-
necessarily have the same.
Right, and the more
Whether you didn't get enough sleep or
right.
whatever.
Well, yeah. And if you have the skill set that you've built up over time, then you rely on that skill set when you may not feel inspired. You know you can do it because you know how to do something, so you can do it. Now, whether it's your best work ever, like you said, you might be tired or something, so it may not be your best work. But that doesn't mean, and I think if you just kind of keep it in mind that it's possible to do it when you don't feel like it, that in itself really helps,
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great quote, and it shows up in there's a video PBS Off Book did that's it's called How to Be Creative, and one of this quote that shows up is inspiration is for amateurs. I just get to work.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love the quote because it essentially says like you're not. It's not the creative process is. I mean, yes, it's a process. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. But if all you rely on is now I feel inspired, I can work, then
you'll never get
you're gonna start
done.
hitting walls.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that may run into one of the topics for today, but I don't remember. Which is why I needed to grab my. That's the thing is I wrote all this stuff down. I'm an artist. I don't remember it's written down.
Paper saving our lives.
That's the thing is I'll talk to people and they'll say something like, "Oh, you can just take notes on your computer." I'm like, no, I have to have a little notepad next to my computer that I can write stuff down in. I have to. I can't just take digital notes because I'll forget about them. They'll get lost. somewhere. But I'll have like 5 or 6 sheets of paper out in front of my desk, scattered all over the place with notes from the past like 3 weeks. I've got this
I would
hutch
love
on my
something
desk
like
that's got
that.
sticky notes all over it.
Yeah, sticky notes, exactly.
Oh,
I'm just like,
I love sticky notes.
I am just the most incompetent
Okay.
student, and when it comes to things like that, I'll just forget everything. It's like, oh yeah, I have a quiz due tonight. Shoot.
So we were talking about not feeling like it,
Mhm.
not feeling like how do you not feel like it? One thing that I think that shows up a lot, especially these days, is how many of us live in the digital world. We live on Facebook, we live on Twitter, we live on whatever, and there is a point where you need to stop doing that. You need to have a life outside of the digital life. And
You
especially with
do?
young artists, I think, it's
Really?
like
Really,
high school kids. I know a lot of my audience are high school groups, and they're and it sounds stupid. It sounds really arbitrary, and for some people it's like, yeah, that's obvious, whatever. But getting outside of whatever your daily routine is. I mean, that's why a lot of us create anyways, to get out of our daily routine, but to literally physically get out of your environment. So even as simple as taking a trip, taking a vacation. I was on vacation about a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
I went down to Tennessee. Got to walk around, and it was great. It was amazing. And one thing I do is when I go on a trip, I do not take my laptop. I do not take anything to keep me in touch digitally. Like I'm gone. That's it. And I'm away from everything. And well, there's TV in the hotel room, but you know what I mean. So to get outside of this frame of mind, there's a great suggestion, especially for the younger generations, is stop playing video games for a while.
Yeah, save
Like
money.
if you're if well, no, it's not just to save money, but if like there's this there was this I was trying to think where the source was, but there was some source that came to talk to like an art college and said something like there were like 5 tips for improving your artwork and this and thing. One of them was stop playing video games, and then it got posted to Facebook, and there was this huge like outpouring uproar of people like, no, she's like, I can't get my videos. In fact, I should be playing games. I should be doing this. And it's like, no, that's the first sign that you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where you think that if you're not getting out of whatever your regular element is enough, and if you think like I have to do this to stay inspired, sometimes you have to take a step back and reevaluate it and say, is this really helping you? There was a thought like maybe if you're playing games, fine, but are the games inspiring you, or are you just locked into the gameplay aspect of it? It's like, are you appreciating the art of the game? So sometimes maybe you have to watch, like a Let's Play video or something and actually see it instead of sitting there and experiencing it. And if it's not games, then you probably have some other vice. There are a lot of people that are very social media centric. And
Bye,
it's like,
space.
are you actually getting out and talking to these people? So making these connections rebuilds your inspirations in that way.
Wow, that's deep.
But that is not to say though that your digital life is not important. It's like yes, it's good to get away, but it's also important to stay connected and stay within your group too, especially if you're a more professional artist, to be promoting yourself and to be out there and to be doing it. But it is not the end all be all. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's interesting to tell people to get out of the social norm, because I am kind of like a cat where everything has to be the way it is daily, and unfortunately, I don't know, it's weird because like I do use Facebook a lot, but it's kind of like also kind of like a little way of me like kind of putting up merchandise, like saying, "Hey, check out this painting, it's on sale. You want to buy it?" And
Right.
yeah, but I
I
agree
think it
that
also
sometimes
depends on your age and what other things you're involved in too. You
yeah,
know,
like if you're in
if you're a
high school,
student, you know, you got to have your priorities, and you know, uh,
yeah, like
uh,
like if
yeah, and I think that you know a lot of it has to do with what your priorities are at that stage in your life. If you're, like I said, if you're a student, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have any of the social media, so it wasn't really an issue. And so when you know, when computers and all came around, you know, and gaming and all that, I really got into it all, but I was like past all that part of my life where I had to interact and be social, and so maybe it was just the age that I came into all the computerization and all the social media and all that, because I love every bit of it, and I'll be the first one. I'm on it all day long. Just saying. But but that's, you know, I'm also not a student. I don't have kids growing up to take care of. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just, it depends on the time of
Right.
your life if you can really have the time to do that sort of stuff.
yeah, like I agree that if you're in high school, you really should get off of Facebook because there was one period of time where like the Facebook of the day that when I would kind of be addicted to MySpace just because I don't know why. And like
The MySpace era.
yes, we shall never speak of it after this statement. I just remember going online a lot because a very close friend of mine moved away, and that was my only way to talk to him. I was just like, great,
Uh-huh.
like this is the only way I can keep
Right.
in touch with him for now. And
Yeah, without, you know,
You're
there's
breaking
special
up here. Hold on a second.
circumstances too. You know, you
Could
know,
just be my end. I'm not sure.
what's wrong, Ben?
Just see a second.
hmm?
Well, because my reception isn't great down here, and I'm just always fiddling with the thing. And okay, I think
Let
I'm
me
good
see.
now. Somebody say something.
Something.
Something. Oh, jinx, yummy soda.
Okay, I think we're all right again. So, yeah, it's a huge rant about that, but it is something like, and you're right, Dede. It is an age thing,
Uh-huh.
depending on who you are and what.
Where you are in your
Depending on who you
life.
are and where you come from and where.
Yeah,
Right, and
like
where you are in life, and you're going to have other responsibilities, but to get a lot of times, I think artistically, we tend to get in our little box that we put ourselves in,
All my friends live in
and
the box,
while the
Ben.
box is nice,
what's it called? Like, but
all
you
my
continue.
friends are homeless and they literally live in boxes,
That is
No,
horrible.
and I didn't appreciate that.
but I mean, seriously though, I do see it a problem for more people than not. You know what I'm saying? Because of the time and how it takes you away from other things and communication with face-to-face people. And you know, there are a lot of downsides to it as well. But you know, I guess it's just up to every individual person to monitor their own behavior, you know?
Well, I think because I was not good at monitoring my own behavior as a teen, and
Well,
yeah.
yeah. Well, that's what you have parents for, Lucas.
What's it called? But as I got older, because like before that, I had a very bad gaming addiction, and like I would spend hours addicted to like RPGs, and like it kind of phased out my junior year of high school, where it was just like I kind of gained self-control, and I would only game on the weekends, and I still only game on the weekends. So,
Mhm.
and I don't play video games as frequently as much as I used to, because I have no money. But fortunately, I have enough money to buy things like books, where it's like TV in your head.
That's great, though. If you're going to spend money on anything like that, books is the way to go.
Yeah, like
Yes, and if you're somebody who can read books, I will say this because I am somebody who, while I can sit here in the studio and work on things for hours on end. I cannot sit down and read for 10 minutes. I get bored. I sit
Yeah,
down, I open up, and I'm like, I'm bored. I'm sorry.
you need to find something that won't bore you then, Ben. There are things out there
Why
that
I
won't
paint.
bore you.
Like the time travelers. Just kidding. No.
Oh,
Fun fact. I actually read the Time Traveler's Wife because of Doctor Who, because they came up with a whole 3-season long story arc just from that book. I'm just like, wow. I have to read this book.
oh man. So actually, you talk about Doctor Who. You talk about things you want to read. This actually segues right into my next tip. So, which is funny because this also somewhat contradicts what I just said about getting out of your box. I'm actually going backwards on my list. Like my list isn't necessarily in order. There's kind of points I want to hit.
That's all right, Ben.
So
You're asking good things, and your shows are interesting. I mean, I enjoy
Okay.
all your shows.
Well, thank you. So the next point I wanted to make tonight was to do something to surround yourself with inspiration. So whether that be images or like YouTube videos, movies, TV shows, whatever you seem to like, being around people, I found is huge. Like there was a point for like a 6-month period where like I wasn't getting out much, and all of a sudden I got out, and I was like, tons of ideas started like pouring out because like you talk to people, and you make connections, and maybe they say something that resonates with you, and something clicks in your head. But whatever you find that inspires you, music is another good one.
I listen to music all the time.
And when I say about listening to music, what I want to point out is how many times do you actually sit down in a chair and like close your eyes and just listen to music, like not having it on in the background, not doing something else or watching a video and having music and stuff, like just sitting and listening to music, because that isn't quite as common anymore.
Believe it or not, I do that on a daily basis. I've done it since I was a kid because my dad would literally have me sit down and listen to music like Bach, and he would do this cool thing, like he would have me listen to classical and Baroque era music like Bach and Mozart, and then like we would listen to things like Paul McCartney, the Beatles, and Sting, and it was just like kind of cool that he had me just sit down and listen to music. And as I grew up, I would actually do that with bands I listened to, and I know that I would do it a lot to Tattoo, Evanescence, and what else? I can't think of any other bands, but that's literally what I do sometimes.
That is actually really, really cool. And I have to say, I have to say, you're really privileged that like your dad was able to to have that both as a bonding experience, and as a thing like, hey, you need to appreciate this.
Yeah, and it actually saved me in my music appreciation class, because on some tests, like we would have to listen to a piece of music and we have to write down what it was, and I would instantly know what it was. Like, write it down. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But I know for me, I keep the way I do this now is I keep a folder on my computer, and there's a shortcut to it on my desktop. It's called Inspiration Libraries. And I've talked about this in a few of the previous live shows. And anytime I'm sketching and I want to do like a quick study, especially doing sketch every day or something like that, and I go and I'm like, I need to look through what I've been finding, and I divide them by month. And I say, okay, what's been inspiring me this month? Let me go back to this. Let me do some sketches from this. So I'm always coming back and looking for new inspirations, sort of in the same place, but maybe I'll see something that I didn't see the first time, and I'll appreciate this piece more. Especially like scrolling through DeviantArt, and it's such a image saturation. Just kind of hold a couple aside to say, I'm going to look at these ones a little bit closer because I like these. But then you kind of study a little bit more. What is it about this that works? And sort of to use the music analogy, to sit, for example, a piece of classical or orchestral music, you're going to get something that tells a story. through the notes, through the music. You can kind of get the little subtle nuances. It's fast and it's happy, or it's like slow and dark, and that can kind of get your imagination working. You talk about reading. I mean, I I have this thing. I have such a negative feeling towards reading, but I know for many people that if it gets your imagination working, you start kind of picturing the characters, you picture the scenes, the events, the places, what they're wearing, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say for me, reading is more influential than music. When I'm working in the studio all day, I mean, I might be watching Ben or something like that, a hangout recording or something like that. But other than that, I don't have any TV in here. No, I don't really play music. I like it quiet and but then I have a lot of things going in my head from things like reading. So I'm just more of I don't need a lot of, noise around me to work. I guess I have enough noise in my head. I don't need it, you know what I mean? But I understand that a lot of that, if you're a real music lover and stuff, what's important to you,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like for y'all, it might be music, and Ben doesn't. I still don't understand. I mean, I want to get to why he doesn't like to read. There's got to be a reason for that.
I think
His
it's
teaching
because,
him in 4th grade.
I think it's because in school I was forced to read so much, and like, here's your summer reading. You have to read this. You have to do this. You have to. And it was such a you have to that I never.
But did you never find books that you loved? See, I think if you ever found something,
there were a few when I was I would say maybe about 11 or 12 that I would find, and it's out of the required reading that I had to do. Like, okay, you have to read a book every, I don't know, a couple months or a month or whatever it ended up being. So I was forced to find something.
Ben, have you ever tried to read the biographies on famous artists?
It's
because that would seem like that would really interest you.
The long lost diary of Bob Ross.
There may be a biography on Bob Ross. I've not seen it, but
I'm saying there probably is.
You're funny, Lucas.
But what was I saying now?
About why you don't like to read?
Yeah,
you were forced to read.
It's just that there are things that there are books I have sitting on my shelf. Like, yeah, I'd love to read this, and I would get like 10 pages in, and I'm just like, all right, I'm done. That's it.
That's sad.
And it is.
I'm sorry, Lucas is just.
I will. Like the other day, I was down here for 5 hours before I even knew it.
Yeah.
And I was like, how long have I been down here? Oh, I've been working for 5 hours. It didn't occur to me. It's just. I'm such a visually minded person that anything else is just really hard.
What about manga or comic books?
I'll tell you what. Mark Curley's graphic novels. There we go. If you want to.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. Once you find things you're interested in.
I would say that I'm slowly getting there.
Yeah.
I was talking before about inspirations. I pulled this out last week, I think, or last hangout. This is a book I picked up. It's an art book. There's a little bit of reading in it, but not much. It's called the Skillful Huntsman. And
that looked really. I saw you pull that out on one of your.
It was a Brothers Grimm fairy tale that was taken in by these 3 art students and basically done as a visual development project. So the whole thing is like sketches and like a handful of finished pieces. And what I like about that. There's little write-ups on each page, but there's also to me it's the high test version of what I search for online. And so I can sit with it and I can sketch with it. I don't have to be looking up and back down at the screen. I can have my sketchbook and the book right next to me and work from it. And this these things I've been doing with the watercolors, these little
I
things.
saw you work on those. Were really interesting, Ben. Those are really
I
interesting.
pulled these, not these specifically, but there was a technique I saw in that book that I wanted to try, and it was basically layers of thin watercolor built up thicker and thicker
Uh-huh.
to darker sections the closer you get in a scene. And to build, here, let me see if I can't pull out one of those things. I'm not giving away too much in the book doing this either because there's so much stuff in it. But yeah, so there's this page here that has these little images, and these are basically just watercolor and pencil. And I saw these, and I'm like, I bet I could do something like this and use the technique and build off of it. And that's how I've come up with a lot of my crazy ideas. I'm like, okay, I want to try this technique, but I want to try and twist it around a little bit and do, like what can I do to take this and take it a little bit further and build new things out of it. I did a lot of pieces back in, I guess it would be about 2010. That first series, my first real big series of mixed media pieces came together, and it was either a watercolor or a chalk background, and then thin black acrylic overlay. And I got that idea. It was I saw these paintings from an artist that did a similar technique, and I'm like, I want to try this, and mimic this a little bit, and then change it enough to make it my own, which is really, in the grand scheme of things, everybody's artistic process.
Uh-huh.
But it's enough to see. Here's back to the topic: stay inspired. Looking at either both famous artists and contemporary artists. Like who are the artists that inspire you? And as long as I'm making that a rhetorical question, I'll make it a real question. Dede, Lucas, who are the artists that inspire you?
The first artist who...
Sorry to hate to interrupt, and anyone in the comments too. Feel free to throw them in.
The first artist like to officially ever inspire me was Vincent Van Gogh. I'm sorry. And as a teen, my favorite artist was Naoko Takeuchi. For those who don't know, she's the lady that made Sailor Moon.
Oh yeah. I know Sailor Moon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just loved Van Gogh's work as a kid, and like I didn't have good motor skills as a kid, so like I made horrible imitations of his paintings, and I would cry sometimes, and like.
Oh, Luca!
And it's kind of sad because like I knew that he had cut off his ear, but I thought he had died of natural causes, and like I found out a few years ago that he had committed suicide allegedly. Like I just burst out crying as an adult, like what?
Oh.
Oh man.
And this I sadly also learned Doctor Who too, so it's just like, what? The thing I love just told me that something else had inspired me.
Oh, that's pathetic.
I feel bad, and at the same time, I almost don't.
You're bad, Ben. You're just bad.
Oh man. No.
I guess what inspires me, like I always look up to is like Renaissance painters and things, the real masters. And not that I really ever try to do any of that, because I'm not really much into oils. I mean, I've done a few done some oil painting, but it's not immediate enough. So let's see. And I know I've shown a couple of different, I can't reach them right now. I have a couple oil paintings on my wall, but I can't reach them. I have to climb over my other paint cart. So I'm not going to do that. But I guess in modern, more recent times of my life, I'll show you one. Hang on. Because I got tons of art books that I always show on my streams and things. But I'll show you one that's really a fun one, if I can put my hand on it. Here it is. Actually, I have a few. I used to be I shouldn't say I used to be a calligrapher. I used to do calligraphy professionally until computers came out, and then,
ruined everything.
Everything was so available that, calligraphy kind of just there's still some, but it's not like it used to be,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I always have liked illuminated lettering, calligraphy, old. If you've ever seen real manuscripts and real old like prayer books and things from, you know, 500 to 1,000 years ago, where monks sat in little rooms and did them. If you've ever seen them in person, for one, they're so small. You don't think about the books and
Yeah.
things being so small, but when I've seen them in museums and on tours and things, and they literally glow. The colors are like colors you don't even see anymore. They're just so vibrant. It's like the gold is like real gold.
Well,
And
it could
all
very
the
well be real gold,
It
but
could be real
It
gold.
was real gold. But I'm just saying the colors are so vibrant and so alive. So that's always inspired me. Illuminated lettering and calligraphy, that's inspired me for probably 30 years. But in more recent times, I'll show you a couple things that, let me move that off of here, a couple things that I really am inspired by. One of them, hang on guys, trying to get that glare off of here. There we go. Maybe well, it's still a little. This kind of stuff, contemporary botanical masterworks. Look at that. You know,
Okay.
I mean, if that doesn't inspire you, look at this.
Oh, that is awesome.
Isn't it awesome? And so botanicals, maybe because they are associated also with illuminated letters and the feel of old world type of art. Like, look at these acorns right there.
That is really
Isn't
amazing.
it awesome? Look at this.
Like, I'm seeing those pictures right now. Like, some people are thinking, okay, those are just plants and fruits, and like, I'm thinking, hold up,
I know.
I could
isn't it? I mean,
totally
they're
like
just
make this
amazing.
into like an awesome. You could either turn that to a really cool outfit or like the background to a really awesome sci-fi world,
Oh,
and that
there's
just shows how.
awesome ideas from that. I mean, so this is my hero, this right here. But then I also love things like this is called The Art of James Christiansen, A Journey of the
Ooh.
Imagination. And well, here's the cover of it. And he does these fanciful characters, and they all have a sense of humor to them.
Ooh.
And when I showed this on my Ustream show, I think like 5 girls went out and immediately bought it because it's just so fun and because it has a Renaissance feel in the sense of the characters. So I like these characters so much that one of my rooms in my house is a mural room, and I've done a lot of these as murals in that room.
Ooh.
And they're still on there. But he's got, like, for instance, all right, I'll show y'all this one. This one is really funny. A man taking a leak on a tiled wall for a walk.
Ew.
Look at it. He's taking his leak for a walk.
Oh, okay. Like,
Oh, it's
I didn't see it then,
vegetable.
but I thought something different.
There's a sense of humor in it, you know. You have to listen, Lucas. But anyway, this one right here, I like this one so much that he's a full-size floor-to-ceiling mural in one of my rooms.
Oh.
That guy right there, the little monk sitting on this little stool. Look at that. So anyway, he's just got all kinds of sense of humor. Here's this one right here is another one that I have painted in there. The Voyage with the Puffin. Look at that. Look at that.
That's
I
so
mean,
awesome.
it's kind of fairy tale-ish, but the artwork is just amazing.
Actually, it reminds me of, like, off the top of my head, it reminds me of, like, Jim Henson movies from the 80s, like The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth,
Yeah.
I was wondering and betting how long it would take before you brought up the Dark Crystal.
I'm sorry, it's one of my favorite movies.
It's true, Lucas. It's true. It is that feel. But look, another thing for Ben who doesn't like to read, he'd like this kind of thing because look. But I mean, look at the reason why. Look at he's got all these little sketches, and he writes about what they all are. You see how he writes, you know, his little. He describes his process, and look at that. Isn't that just amazing?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the kind of things that inspire me. And they're humor. Like here's the fish kite, and the detail, if you could see it in, you know, is just it's just amazing, the detail. Look at that.
Mm.
So
I think I'm gonna watch
this
those
kind of
movies
stuff-
after this.
Do what? You're gonna watch the movie?
I'm gonna go watch The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth right after this. I'm on vacation.
So these kind of things inspire me, but I love art books. I love books in general and reading. So, but I in here in my studio, I collect, you know, I have all my art books. So I show a lot of different variety of art books on my Ustream show, and I am a book enabler. I'll just say I am a book enabler. But lately on my streams, I've been doing stuff like this, Lucas, just animals like these, just quick sketches. So I pulled out a few of them so that you kind of see. Oh, I know, Mama. And just some different. So I've been doing these the last couple of streams to show the girls, mostly girls. I say girls. There's a few guys that come along, but usually they're the ones that say, you know, I'm streaming in the middle of the night.
Typical men.
Yeah, a little koala. But these are kind of quick. There's a little emu. Oh. And then here's just a old man face.
That looks like the cover to The Giver a little bit.
And then
I don't know.
here's a ringtail.
See, of all the things I haven't read, that I have read
Oh.
because it was a school assignment in
You recognize this
7th
one?
grade. or
Grumpy
whatever it was.
Cat!
Everybody recognizes the grumpy cat. And then and then I've been doing fish lately as well. So anyway, so that's funny, Ben. Grumpy cat.
Ben is talking about his stars. They're like,
That's,
oh my god, it's Grumpy Cat!
But, yeah, that's actually a really great example of sort of immediately taking inspiration and jumping it in and taking that step further.
Speaking of like
So
books and
really great
art,
stuff.
like there's this video series that I watched called, it used to be called 50 Shades of Green, but now it's called Booze Your Own Adventure, and it was pretty much these two girls writing a book, and one episode like they concentrated on like covers of books, and they're comparing how books today have a very minimalist approach to it, and how books like in the 80s and 90s like have covers like this.
Wait, let me click
Like,
on
really-
you. Let me click on you.
Hold
Lucas.
up.
Show it again. Okay, go ahead. I'm looking. Okay.
There's
Elaborate.
yeah, very like books from the 80s and like the 90s that have like very elaborate, very detailed covers, and like today's books like primarily young adult fiction, it's like very minimalist. Like Twilight is a very good example of like, here it is, read me just with these two hands and an apple.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Well, I guess, you know, maybe that's just right now, that's what grabs, because you have to have such a book. I think, what is it I heard that a book is bought or chosen within like 5 seconds of looking at the cover.
It's
So
true.
maybe-
Like let me grab another book where it takes the minimalist approach that I actually really like a lot.
Well, do you think, Lucas, it's because people today are young, especially younger people, are so social media and instant, you know, computer and instant iPad, everything, that like you got to have that, just that image that grabs you. It can't be too complex because it takes too long to look it over.
I think that's probably it, because like I've read young adult fiction and some of it's like very flat. Like the most complicated YA fiction I've read was about the first half of Beastly, and then from that point on, like, the first half of Beastly was like pretty good because like it was a very complex, very unique story, and then like the second half, the 11 just came in as like it just went straight to hell in terms of what happened.
Uh-huh.
Like the story's just like, oh, now he just wants to win the girl that he can break the curse. Great. And speaking of minimalist like artwork approach to YA fiction, like this is a good example of like.
Let me click on it. Hang on, Lucas. Yeah, yeah. It's just like something that's just like really one big graphic image that grabs you.
Yeah, like this is like that book that I just showed is a good example of like a book that was very good and worth to read and reread, and like it was actually a good book and a good call to like have minimalist stuff, and like it was interesting because like I did used to kind of like shy away from like books from detailed covers as a teen and an adult because like I was like, it looks detailed and hard and I don't want to be judged on what I'm reading.
Oh, I hope you never not read something because you're afraid of being judged on something.
Well, it's not because of that.
That never stops you.
It didn't stop me, but like sometimes like there were days where it's like I just wanted to read something incognito without somebody approaching me. It's like, hey, what's that about? Blah blah blah. And like I think that's one of the reasons why the Twilight books sold so well, because like you could read it incognito and nobody would care if you're reading them.
I guess that never bothered me. I never cared what people thought.
Like I didn't care what people think. I just didn't want people to bother me while I was reading.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess.
All right, I think I'm gonna actually wrap this back around to our topip. Hopefully.
Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, we got
I started getting a little.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead. It's your show.
Let's see if I. Well, because that's the thing is I would. It's not that I'm against all these tangents. In a lot of ways, I'm for them.
We call it rabbit trails on Ustream.
But.
I'm sorry, Ben. I really am.
No, that's by all means. I'm like, Twilight, come on, guys, let's go.
I was just using that as an example.
Yeah,
I know.
Okay.
But you know what? I will grab this back into whatever the last live show I did. I talked about keeping attention span. So I did a whole segment on what makes a good channel, what makes a good YouTube channel, and feel free to watch it however long it is. But I actually want to interject this before you started getting into more of a tangent. You talked about how covers are minimalist and how the old ones more in depth, because people would stop. But I think it's because so many people are in that, like you said, social media oriented. They're so used to just a barrage of images. They want to get a nice quick concept out of it.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that on YouTube. Like, the way I say it is, if you can't capture someone's attention in the first 5 seconds of your video, they're probably going to click away. And usually the first 5 seconds of my video are just my intro. So
yeah.
if they got that far, then I've already have their attention long enough.
Well, but you know what, Ben, too? And this is just me, I watch gazillions of YouTubes. And for me, like on your show, maybe it's because I have more attention span that I like the shows that are longer. I like your hangouts better than I do your quick videos. But maybe it's just because I have a longer attention span, like you were talking about, depending on your attention span. But I guess because of the content, you just get more out of it when there's longer videos. For me, I watch videos to get to know the person and what they do, and their, like your art. The more I see of you in a bigger context, a longer context, then the better I get to know that person. And then when it's just a short video, it's like, oh well, Ben, wait, So I guess that part may depend on just the people watching, the different types of viewers.
Right. I mean, I think it's really great that you say that, and even they bring it up. It helps me. It helps me kind of figure out people's opinions. A lot of times people are like, oh, I like those. Some people say I love the longer ones. Some people say I love the shorter ones. So it's hard to find enough stuff that everyone enjoys. So I like having some longer ones, and I like having some
Right,
shorter
and I
ones.
understand that, and that's
And,
probably good to have that variety, you know,
and
for the people that do like shorter.
the channel has been about variety really since its creation, both in like short films and whatever else I put up on the channel. But yeah, I mean
I
it's
guess it depends on if you really want, if you're looking for like inspiration, instruction,
right. I mean
or
I get a lot of my incoming views come on some of my certain tutorials, tree tutorials, cloud tutorials, because they're things people are actually looking for.
yeah.
And the way I say it is if somebody comes in for that and subscribes and actually sticks around for the other stuff, then I feel like I succeeded in that.
You succeeded with us.
Yes, well, thank you. My dastardly evil plan is coming to fruition.
Well, I guess so, Ben, for me, because maybe it's just because I'm older, and you know, I enjoy watching younger people, artists, and their careers, if you will, you know, how they're progressing. I'm like you know, an observer of how you guys that are up and coming, what y'all are doing, and what I would recommend for you, Ben, and this is just me because I'm very active on Twitter, is if you tweeted more, they will come. You know, I think that a lot of people
Twitter,
don't know, but if they don't know you're out there on YouTube, Twitter is a way to get them over there.
that was one of the things. That's one of the reasons I got a Twitter in the first place. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I got a Twitter. This is absolute social rock bottom.
No, it's not. It's wonderful.
I like the
interesting people.
in terms of promotion, I like the platform.
Uh-huh.
And I got it. Like that's the thing is, I'm not doing this to make goofy comments about whatever the hell ever. I'm using it as a promotional tool, but there is a certain sort of like the instant access of it,
Uh-huh.
and the types of people you find there, yes, you are going to hit some interesting ones. My Facebook fan page has also done much better over time, and that's the thing right now is just finding the people that are interested and keeping them around.
Well, I just think that there's just such a more of a variety now. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not a real big Facebook poster and fan. You know, it's just
Right.
I like Twitter because of the instantaneousness of it and the conversation that you know can carry on with people. But I think that it would probably just behoove you to, you know, even if you don't want to necessarily have a bunch of friends there, that it's still a way for more people to get to know you. In other words, even if you just post every time you have a new video,
That I actually have in automatically.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
When I upload a video, it goes directly into the Twitter feed, and when something hits my Twitter feed, it goes directly into my fan page. So they're all linked. So YouTube goes to Twitter, goes to Facebook, so they're all boop, 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 sort of in a chain in a row. So I do maximize that with very little effort.
Okay.
But I'm actually getting into now the previous week's topic, so I'm going to loop it back around here.
Okay, go ahead, Ben. We get off the rabbit trail.
Let's see. What else did I want to say tonight? And after I cover all the stuff, we can go back to this stuff. I just
oh no, it's all interesting to me. I like
to get through the things actually written down.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the other things I heard recently, which was an interesting way to understand the creative process, was build yourself a religious habit of drawing. Not turn art into a religion, but there is sort of
the habit of it?
You have to do in some way create a plan for yourself that it becomes habitual.
Mm-hmm.
So, like me, I started doing sketch every day.
Right. I think you're on to that. I mean, that is very important. If you're not sketching every day, you're not going to be improving, and you're not going to be disciplined at it.
True.
As an example, with the Sketch Everyday project, because one, it gives you an outlet. So if let's say if you're posting whether it be a picture to Twitter or something to put your stuff out there, even if it's just something for your friends on Facebook, say, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm just going to be posting pictures every day. You can like it or comment or whatever or don't, but it gives you a reason to do it. Other than I want, because after what I found is after 2 weeks of Sketch Every Day, I got sick of it.
Yeah,
but
you need that.
Because I had the
feedback.
channel. But because I had the channel, because I had the videos, I'm like, I got to keep doing this. I got to keep putting them out there, even though they're only getting maybe 1 or 2 hits, in a day, like every day, because people aren't sitting down to watch the video every day, because that's a lot. That's a lot of content to put out a video every day.
Yeah.
And I really respect people that do it now. Like the things like daily vlogger and stuff. That's huge if you can do that.
Well,
but me, mine is just a little 1 minute. Thanks. If anyone watching doesn't know what I'm talking about, over on the channel page, there should be a little link that says second channel or Sketch Every Day, and you can find it there. But when I started, there were a few years back where it took me like a year and a half to fill a sketchbook, and that was way too long to fill a sketchbook. And then in November of 2013. Well, one, I started when I was still at the store. I took my sketchbook to work, and I started doing stuff at work pretty much every night, or when I could. And then that sketchbook, and about halfway through that sketchbook, I started Sketch Every Day. And that sketchbook I finished in 88 days, which to me was a record. That's really good. My current sketchbook, over here, I started this the 4th of April. And I'm probably going to be finished with it in about maybe a week and a half.
You did a flip of that one on one of your episodes, didn't you?
A flip of my sketchbook? I think I went through my sketchbook once, but
yeah. Maybe it was a hangout before last or something. You did a little bit of a talk about your sketchbooks.
Right. And I probably did. I don't think I remember, but yeah, I mean, this sketchbook is going to be shorter. Yes, I didn't. Yeah, there's the joke. Okay. But it's one of the things. Do you listen to yourself when you talk? Not really. But yeah, this sketchbook is probably going to be around about half that time. It's going to be maybe 40 or 50 days-ish. I'll have to count it out once I finish it. But yeah, I mean, I am sketching more. I don't know if I'm producing more paintings, but I'm definitely. I feel myself improving in ways that I didn't before because I'm doing it every day. Even if it's just something small and terrible, it is keeping in the habit, keeping in the process of doing it. And so it's having a habit actually keeps you inspired, I think.
It does. And
so back to.
I was just going to comment on your sketchbook, and that how that it's very it's inspiring to a lot of people to see other people's sketchbooks because it's just like when I showed you the books that inspire me. A lot of people that don't even have access to those kind of things, when they see somebody else's sketchbooks, that does inspire them.
Right. I have to flip ahead here.
Just so that you guys know, if I disappear, it's because my iPad is on low battery, so I may disappear.
Plug it in, Lucas.
Plug it in.
Can't you just plug it in?
I can, but it's kind of a very uncomfortable position for me to be in because the thing is so short.
Yeah.
Stupid Apple technology.
Oh, you know what? I did see something that was really cool. Somebody posted it. Let me see if I can find the picture of it. This is kind of cool. It's just, y'all are going to go, oh, brother, how corny, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. Somebody invented this, taking the pockets off of old jeans. Look.
That is awesome.
And you just hang the little seam over your plug, and you put your phone right in the pocket. I think it was on Pinterest or something. Let's see. Yeah. But anyway, so you just sewed the two pockets together with the seam, and that you hang the seam over the plug, and then you just put your phone and hang it up. Isn't that kind of? When you said the plugs were so short, that just brought that to my mind. But
Yeah, I kind of have a blacklist against Apple right now because of so many issues.
really, see, I love my Apple products.
No, I love my Apple products too, but like I'm just like, ugh, I needed to buy a new computer because the old one crashed, and I can't use USBs with this. I have to use Dropbox and Google Docs for everything.
Yeah, well, I do have, I just have a PC for a laptop. I mean, I'd love to have an Apple, but
I wouldn't. But that's
would?
another hangout another time. I think I've gotten
Okay.
into that on
I got us a
several
new topic for
occasions
next week.
on how much I hate Apple stuff.
Really?
But
Okay, well, don't tell me
But
then. I don't want
that's
to
got to be back. Oh man, that's got to be some of the Sunday from the studio episodes because
Okay.
yeah,
I guess everybody has their
I've gotten
preference.
into it. I've gotten into it in the past, and that's not something I want to do again.
I don't
At least
mind.
at least not today, anyway. Maybe for a future
Show.
a future live show, I'll do a thing on like a whole big technology one. That's just a separate because a lot of us will get into it. I know, and it's
You need to invite that one kid for it.
Go back to your show points.
Yes.
right.
Keep on.
So I think I'm down to just one. It's one show point, but it's split up into like 3 different other points.
Okay.
So my final thought was to have multiple projects going on at once. And for some people that sounds insane.
It's not
And-
insane.
For some people it probably is insane. Like for me, I've got these things I'm working on, and I've got this thing on wood over here, which is sort of like these things and this and some mixed media with the gels and things. And I've started prepping some pieces of tile over here to do something with. And I have that yellow canvas, but I also primed another white one. And it's like I have all these. I'm just surrounded by like other little projects, as opposed to
But
whatever
I
the
think
bigger.
that just shows that you have a lot a lot of things on your mind that you want to explore, and
Right.
there's
And
nothing
the idea
wrong with that.
right. The idea with this is especially for you think like a lot of like digital artists now that are doing client work. They're like, I get burned out doing all this, like all the stuff that it's not something I'm super excited about, for example, but it's something that I have to get done. Like you talked about Dede earlier, talking about like it's like, well, you just do it because you have to, and
Right.
somebody either hired you or paid you to do it.
Right.
And so one of the things that the tricks that I've kind of come across is that you need to have a balance between stuff you're doing for other people and stuff you're doing for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're someone like me who pretty much only does stuff for themselves, you need it's also really good to take on work for other people too, because I did recently, and this was I think over on Sketch Every Day, because I don't have the picture up yet. It was a ink drawing of my brother's new house. And I just gave it to them for a housewarming gift, and because I finally gave it to them, I can actually post the image online now, because I didn't want it to loop back around to. I wanted it to be a surprise.
Right.
And I didn't work on it a lot all at once because one, it was a detailed ink drawing and its architecture. And both of those things, well, not both things, but mainly the architecture part of it, is something that I find to be extremely boring. But it was.
Yeah, I'm not good at exact. If I have to get out a ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did. I might still have it. Yeah, here we are. So this is. I did a printout and basically carboned the back of it with a graphite pencil. This was the printout on the front of the house.
Oh, that's nice. Hold it closer, Ben. Hold it closer.
So this was desaturated Photoshop image, which I then printed, and you can see it's a little bit blue because I went over in a blue pen. so it
Oh,
would press down.
that's a great idea for, and especially for someone that wants their house.
Right, and my brother actually took the picture, so I was able to kind of work that background in, and I did it. Did the drawing on a piece of slate that they found in the attic that I guess had belonged on
Don't
to
you
the
have a
house at
stack
some
of
point
that
in time.
stuff? Don't you have a stack
And
of
I-
slate from your own
Could you-
house, Ben?
Do I what? Huh?
Didn't you have a stack of slate that you said was found like on the side of your house or something? Or is that something a different stack of slate?
There was something. It wasn't found at my house, but there was some of them in. I actually was looking for it. I don't know where all the slate we had here went. It went somewhere. I don't know where.
Because you were
Looking for it.
using
It's
one
not
for
here
a
anymore,
palette
I don't
at
think,
one
but-
time, weren't you?
Yeah, I've done stuff. I've done stuff on slate before, and but yeah, this piece it actually had a hole in it where I guess it was like a nail that blew a hole in it or something. And then,
Wow.
there was a piece of wood that I mounted it to. That was huh?
Go ahead,
Did you say
Ben.
something?
No.
Uh-oh. Something
I
happened.
think we're just kind of
feeling
freezing up
something
a
happened.
little.
Did something happen?
No, nothing has
Here,
happened.
let me adjust things a little.
I hear Lucas fine,
Uh,
but Ben kind of cuts
What?
in and out.
Okay, we good?
Yeah,
We
we're
good.
I think everyone's good now.
Yeah.
All right. So anyhow, I did this drawing on a piece of slate that was in their attic, and I basically glued it down to a piece of wood that was an old shelf that I found in the house. So everything they basically gave me, it was like, here, you could probably do something with this. I basically got it back to them as a project, and it was a royal pain in the ass to do. It was I hated pretty much every minute of it, but it was off to the side of my regular work, and like let's say I was over here working on a painting, and then I'm like, okay, I need to wait till this layer of paint dries, so I'd go over and work on the drawing for 10 minutes. And having that quick balance, being able to switch back and forth, kind of keeps your mind fresh. And so when I either go back to the painting or go back to the drawing, I have a sort of a fresh perspective on things, and I don't get so locked into whatever I'm working on. A lot of people have this problem where they're looking at something like, for me, I'll get like especially I'll get really, really close to whatever I'm working on, and you start seeing all these little flaws in whatever you're doing, and you're like, this looks terrible, I have to keep trying to fix it. Tip on
He stopped. I think we kind of lost Ben there a second.
No.
Ben, come back. Ben.
Don't head into the
come
light.
on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Lucas, but I thought, no, I won't say that, Ben. Then you said it.
All right.
There he is. He's back.
So I think I want to. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, I was saying something about switching between projects, and when I was able to switch between projects, it comes back with a fresh perspective, and I think that was really the biggest thing about that point. I don't know if it'll be choppy in the final upload. It might just be the stream.
Well,
So
for you youngsters out there, that is from the movie Poltergeist. You will probably never see it because you're too ignorant watching The Conjuring.
No, I remember the Poltergeist. That's been a while, but
I'm saying today's youth, the people that are watching Ben's thing, probably wouldn't care to look at it, and
I thought it as soon as you said it.
what's it called? It's not really a scary movie except for that stupid clown.
Chucky?
But
No, it's like this clown that like it's there throughout the movie, and like you always suspect it's gonna do something, and it does nothing until like the very end. It's like, I hate clowns even more now.
A lot
So
of
that's why
have
people
a
hate
clown-
clowns.
There's a word for that. I forget what the phobia is. A clown phobia, you know?
I'm not scared of them.
You didn't sound quite like you were convincing yourself there, Lucas. I'm not scared of them.
it's normal. I'm not afraid.
I just hate them.
Let Ben stay on track. So Ben, stay back and get back on.
But yeah, that was actually one of my last points. Is that in this section, kind of talked about client work versus personal work. Um, having both difficult projects
Yeah.
and easy projects kind of going on at the same time kind of helps out.
Well, I guess, let me just address that. Because I stream twice, at least 2 times a week, I'm doing lots of projects and a variety of projects. Almost every single stream is different. It just depends on, if I got a new book. Like, for instance, I won't go through the whole book, but I'll just show you the book here. These are the 2 books that I got over the weekend. This one's called Map Art. A Map Art Lab, 52 exciting art explorations in map making, imagination, and travel. And then this one is Make Map Art, like how to make maps of your life, whether it's your personal life, your thoughts, your dreams, or your actual physicality. And so these were, so I would talk about these on my Ustream, but it may go off onto drawn animals, or something. So as far as a variety, I do so many different things, although everybody's favorite seems to be my collages, Ben, doing, doing these kind of collages, mixed media collages. This seems to be everybody's favorite thing to watch me do. And what I do from these is I'll take these collages and I'll turn them into paintings. I know Ben has seen these before and what I do with them, because I think I showed them on one of the last hangouts that we were in. And so I'll take something like, let me find the one that I'm working on. Some of them are not done yet, but the one that this one I turned into my phone.
More David Bowie and Labyrinth.
See, I made that one into my phone thing there. But anyway, I'm looking for the one that, let's see, where is it? It may not be in here. But what I'll do is I'll take it and like here's one that's just on a single piece of cardstock. I'll take this collage and then I'll turn it into an acrylic painting.
Oh.
See? So this is all acrylic, whereas this is mixed media, like, a cutout of this or a glued on of that mixed with the paint, and then I'll take that and turn it into an acrylic painting. So I'll do stuff like this a lot on stream because that's what everybody likes to see me do, and sketches, like just this kind of stuff. But then I have all my, when I do portraits, commission portraits, then I have to focus on faces or, specifics. So I know what you're talking about, being in variety, but I guess if you get stuck in a rut, not you particularly, but I mean if a person gets stuck in a rut because they just constantly do the same thing, that doesn't really happen to me because of being on Ustream and Twitter and an online presence. I'm constantly doing something pretty much every day for somebody,
Right. And you talked about getting in a rut, and that's one thing I don't think I actually even made note of, like anything. So get out of a rut, for example.
What do you do to get out of one?
Oh man, it's really hard because a lot of times I'll get to the point where I just don't feel like working. And
but
that's where whether it's browsing through DeviantArt or now I pick the Skillful Huntsman up all the time now too. I just kind of like leaf through it, and if I can find one image, if I can find one thing that gets my mind working, I do, and I can start kind of jumping back in. That's the thing. It's just you need to like constantly be scoping out and looking for those new inspirations.
That's where reading comes in, Ben. I'm teasing you, Ben. But I also got to say, Ben, as much as you may say you're either sometimes get stuck in a rut or not inspired, when you're doing your shows and everything, they're inspiring to the rest of us. So just the fact that you inspire others, doesn't that inspire you?
Wow, that was a hallmark moment.
Doesn't it though?
You have left me speechless. I don't know what to say. I have to say that
Don't
there
say
is
it,
something.
sing it.
Oh, no. I
But
will never sing on. Will not sing on camera. Sorry. But I can blend in with the crowd singing, but I'm not good alone. And if anyone's been watching this channel long enough, you may have seen a video of me trying to sing, and that's why it's not on the channel anymore. But yes, I do. To me, it's really cool. Like there'll be like a long stint, and then you get a comment or something that says, "Wow, this really helped me out. You're an inspiration." That's huge. You know, it's still in the back of my mind. I'm like, there's no way I'm as good as people think I am. You know, and it's this
But the thing is,
concept
you don't
of
have to be. You don't have to be like the best, most perfect artist in the world to inspire
right.
people.
It's
There was
true. I'm pretty sure Bob
something
Ross
I
said
heard
that at some
recently.
point.
Something I heard recently about it's like not everyone is going to be that teacher that teaches everybody, you know. But if I can pass on something that I've learned in hindsight, then that's good. I mean, you know,
Well, then, for instance, when you were talking about, and I don't remember if it was in a Hangout or on one of your longer videos, but you were talking about when you were in school and your different art teacher, and you know that the story of kind of like how you got into, you know, more and more art and everything. That is inspiring to even older people like me, let alone, I'm sure, lots of younger people, because
right.
for me, it shows me someone that really loves art, is dedicated to it, is working at it, doing videos, carrying sketchbooks. I mean, all that for me is very inspiring.
Yeah, I'm actually at the point now where I actually really like. There was a point where I loved watching time lapse videos, like this kind of a lot of the kind of things that I make now, and right now I like finding artist interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I like hearing them because I like hearing other people's stories, and I think that's kind of what you're saying is
Yeah,
that just
when
hearing
you were telling your
somebody
story.
else's story can be huge.
Exactly.
So if you're looking for inspiration, why not look for an artist interview? I'm actually trying to set a few up here through the live shows. I have a couple sort of in the early works right now, and they're people that I've met, old friends of mine, new friends of mine, that hopefully before the end of the summer there will be at least one artist interview up to the channel.
Wow.
But I also want to talk to. I mean, I know people, a few people in a lot of different artistic sort of fields.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine lives in New York City, and he's into dance. He works in the theater business there, and I would actually love to do a show with him where he talks about the sort of the art of sort of the physical arts of like theater and dance and performance. Because whether or not people are specifically looking here the channel, I mean this is a visual arts channel, but to explore the other facets of the arts, and this goes to I actually talk about this all the time, but the importance of using different media. And if anyone out there has watched a lot of my videos, I know Dede and Lucas have, you've seen the sort of extent of the studio and all the different media that I have on my bookshelves and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't
take that big mural down, your big painting on the back wall.
I painted over it. I'm doing a new one. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm doing something new.
Okay. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
But while like even here, like acrylic is my go-to medium, but tonight I'm using watercolor. I got colored pencils and pens off to the side. I'm constantly trying new techniques and new things, and it may not necessarily look like it every time, but every painting I do, I'm trying something new. Just constantly. So it's if you just do the same.
About it. You put yourself
if you do
out there, man,
and
that takes some bravery.
Yes, and there's actually I don't know where I was watching it, but it was something about troll comments and like bad comments. It's like, well, when you make videos and you make anything, if you're a content creator in any capacity, like Dede, you do your live shows, you know, anyone who's an artist who's posting their work to DeviantArt or to anything else, you're putting yourself out there and you're being vulnerable in that sense. And it's really easy to get discouraged. I mean, if you get one like hate comment or something, that can get you down. But if you one of the best
my show.
one of the best bits of advice that I've heard recently has been you are not your work. And a criticism of your work is not a criticism of you as a person.
Right.
And so if you are so attached to whatever you create that it's like, and yes, because you built something up from nothing, you were putting sort of your own life into it. But if you are that attached to it, then you're going
wrong,
something is going to hurt you, and it's going to be a problem for you.
Right.
And if you're getting easily discouraged like that, it's because you are too attached to your work.
Well, I think
and
too,
I really
with age too, Ben, the more you do things and the more you start doing things that because you like them, and like this, for instance, I'm just playing. I'm just, you know, I don't really not thinking about it or care if it turns out or not. And I think the more you do things and that's out there, and you, especially when you stream or you do YouTube, you start to just do stuff because you like it or you feel like doing it. And people don't like it, you know, I hate to say it, but I really don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take more criticism, and I say criticism in the sense of constructive criticism from someone like you who does art.
There is a difference between positive and negative criticism.
Yeah, rather than just a troll coming by and saying, you know, I saw something in a book that, you know, was better than that. Well, well, I'm happy doing this, so, you know.
Well, the funny thing is, when you get a comment like that, occasionally, you know, it's like if you click on their name, especially on YouTube, and go to if they have a channel, and then you look and go, this person doesn't make anything, so they don't know how hard it is. You know?
Yeah. So I am on the 6% power mark, and it's almost 5% power.
Okay. So I guess that means you're going to be heading out.
Yeah.
I would say before you do.
Hang out with you, Lucas.
Thank you.
Funny.
Thank you.
So if you before you go, if you want to say anything else to anybody, tell people about your channel or anything like that, feel free. If not, then the time is yours.
The time is 9. What's it called? Well, before I go, I'll show you what I've been working on. Hang on. This little sketch that I've been working on while you two have been talking.
Hold it steady when you get it there.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
It went dark for a minute. There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What can I say? Back to doing multiple things at once. It applies to more things than art. Like in high school, I'd write stories, and fortunately, they were never published beyond a high school newspaper, and there's no copies left. I would switch in between 2 stories. One is pretty much like your typical action adventure story with like a female protagonist, and like whenever I felt blocked for that one, I would switch over to another story that I worked with a group of people where it was pretty much the apocalypse.
And are you writing a story with other people, did you say, Lucas? Or?
Yeah, I was writing it with other people, and like we were trying to like make a comic out of it. It never got off the ground, unfortunately. And it was
Are you going to continue it yourself?
At this point, no, because I'm just like, I need to let it go. I need to start
over
other things. Like, I've started different stories now, and maybe one day I'll self-publish.
Well, that's easy to do nowadays.
Yeah, because it's hard to actually get in contact with real publishers and like go through rejection letters and things like that. But it's like I don't really want to deal with stuff like that. And self-publishing, it's both a hit and a miss, because like on one hand, it's published and it's out there, but on the other hand, you don't have the advertisement of an actual publisher and things like that.
Well, do your research on that. I mean, you know, it's so easy to find out information about how to do all that now. Not saying that you haven't already done that, but, you know, do lots of research on it and, you know, look for publishers and book companies, and I don't know if you know. Let me show you that. I got the art one, and there's a writer's one too. This is an old version, Lucas, but there's the writer's one too. The artist and graphic designer market. This is from 2009, but there's a writer's one too.
I have that book actually from 2009.
Okay, well, what I'm saying though is like the writing one, there's the writing one just like for the different magazines and articles and different ways to break into writing and illustrating, both. They can be both, you can do writing and illustrating, like books, kids' books, for instance, for the combination. But what I'm saying is those kind of things, there's lots of different magazines and things that'll take short stories and things to get you out there.
Yeah. Like what I really want to do is like I'm working on some short stories right now. Like it'll be 13 short stories in one book, and there's gonna be a really cool twist. And I really don't want to talk that much about it, other than it's gonna be unique.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, and do this too, Lucas, when you're writing, now that you're just doing it on your own without a group. It seems to me that from the different writers and things that I've talked to, that you don't want to talk about it. It's almost like, I don't want to say it takes the magic away, because I don't mean that, but it takes something about that inspiration that's in you when you put it out there too early and let people know what you're doing it too much.
Yeah.
It's like you just really need to like let it gel inside you and not share too much. Not that you can't go out and look for, how to publish or how to, other venues as to getting it out there. But as far as your storyline itself and all that, you really want to like try to keep it to yourself as much as you can. Not because you don't want anybody to know about it, but because for your own self, for your own inner inspiration.
Yeah, like I do have a small group of people that they know things and they help critique it, because I'm not that strong of a writer as I thought I was. So.
Well, that's good that you have that, but you just need to keep it within your group where you feel it doesn't drain your story from your. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, maybe I'm not. Very good. Okay.
I get it. Thank you, though.
Yeah, and that's actually a really huge point to bring up, is to have a community, and to have whether it be an art community or whether it be a writing community. And if you don't have one, if you're an artist saying I need an art community, we're here.
For sure.
We're willing to be here.
Everywhere.
Any of the art, like if you admire an artist, don't be afraid to send them an email and say, hey, I love your work. And the thing is, like, if you're going to send somebody an email, be nice and compose it and use complete sentences. But people tend to think that there's like this wall. It's like, I don't have any contacts. Like, well, this is the internet. You have contacts with everybody. You just have to ask.
The whole world.
It's like bite your tongue and get over yourself and just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the worst they can do is ignore you, and if they say something mean, then they're not really worth the time.
Well, and you have to make the effort too when you want to have social or artistic interaction with others. You have to make the effort as well to be a part of that. You can't just expect the other people to be like feeding you all the time if you're not giving back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like we're all three interacting here, You can't just be
I should make note.
A bystander.
I should make note that for some people this is not just a I'm afraid, but some people have it's like whatever mental condition that's really hard for them. And we're not saying don't be yourself and make yourself that uncomfortable that you either get physically ill or it's just like you cannot do it. Like I don't want to be insensitive to that, because I've met people that because art is their outlet and because they can hide behind their computer screen, it becomes easier. It sounds like you're starting to fade a little bit over there. I'm gonna.
That's true, Ben, but
let
at the
you.
same time, if you don't put yourself out there for people to get to know you, no matter what kind of, any kind of problems you have, then nobody has that opportunity to know. If you don't put yourself out there, nobody has
Well,
that opportunity to get to know you.
Okay,
Right.
I really have to go now. I'm
right, and you're
sorry.
going
Okay,
to find.
Lucas.
Have a nice
You're,
Bye.
evening. Bye.
Oh,
Okay.
that was fun to talk with him. He's fun. I'm glad
All right.
he hangs out with you, Ben.
Yeah, but of course. Okay. Yeah, it's nice to have regulars, I would say.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, it's as I was saying before, it's like if it is a physical or psychological problem that you have that you for some reason can't. We're not
Uh-huh.
saying go beyond that, but you need to make the effort to be part of a community of
Right.
sorts.
Right.
And if you're
Definitely.
not doing that, if you're not taking the step to be in a community, whether or not they accept you, or whether it's like a lot of people are just get like, oh, they're not going to like me. It's like, even if they don't, and you have to move on to someone else, fine. It
At
wasn't,
least
your
you're making
specific
the
community,
effort.
but you tried,
Right.
and you're making
Right.
contact, and you're getting yourself out there. And
Exactly.
it's difficult. The first time you do it, it's hard. It's weird. It's awkward. But I've got this a little bit of saying that I used to do when I did more work with my church, and I would say, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be awkward for everybody. Just suck it up and let it be awkward. Like, okay,
Yeah.
just suck it up
Yeah.
and go.
Exactly, Ben. And
Just
and the
let it
thing.
be. There was a.
Go
I
ahead.
thought it's like whatever you're feeling, other people are probably feeling too.
Well, and there's just so much
So
opportunity to meet such a variety of people. You won't by making yourself available and getting and trying different groups and things. You'll meet such a variety of people. You're not. To me, that is so wonderful about the internet. Is like I have friends all over the world. That would have never happened without the internet. I mean, I have young
right.
friends, old friends. I mean, I have 80-year-old friends online, and then I have young people like you online. And so there's just
Mhm.
there's just such a variety of people that you can meet that expand your world and your understanding of the youngest to the oldest and everybody in between, your kind of peer groups and what you do, and different. Like I said, I love watching young people like you, Ben, who are up and coming, and watching you grow and how's your show, expand and teach more people. It's all, I just think it's wonderful, and that's inspiring to me. Like I said, that's inspiring to me to see young people like you just really making something of the whole art and video and community and just the whole thing. See, that inspires us older people. Plus just your art is
That
great.
you know what?
you know
Thank you so much. That actually means quite a lot to me. I'm actually going to wrap up the live portion of this. We can stick around for an after show
All
in just
right
a little
then. Well,
bit here.
thanks for having us
But,
on the show.
So we'll just, I guess, stay after I hit stop. We'll just both sit here for a
Okay.
little while longer, I suppose. But just wrapping up things for today. First of all, general maintenance on the channel. Thanks everyone for watching, who tuned in both tonight, and anyone who's watching after the fact, after this goes up live tomorrow and future months and weeks. If you guys ever have any questions about questions or comments about traditional media that you would like to forward to me or to anyone else who is either in the Hangout or that I might know in the YouTube art community, feel free to forward them to me. I can get the questions out there, and we can hopefully get those answered. Next thing on the agenda. Let's see. I don't remember. Yes. Two really great videos coming up to the channel this week. On Wednesday, I will be uploading a video talking about the difference between the Pigma Micron pens, which you see me using quite often, and I also have a set of Prismacolor Premier markers. Both are comparable, and I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of the two different brands. Which one works for you guys, which one doesn't. It's about, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes long, I think. So it's a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth. It's both a review and everything else. Yeah, so that's coming up. Second video coming up this week. Dede earlier talked about liking the longer form stuff. You're actually in for a treat. I don't know how much you're going to need the information in it, but here are the sets. I did a color wheel and value scale in acrylic paints, and there's a huge 30-minute video coming up for that on Friday. The only downside is the red to green and yellow to purple scale I forgot to hit record on the camera for, so they're not actually in the video. There will be a supplementary video for those two scales, which I apologize in that video a few times for not getting it. And I will have those as a separate video, and then I'll link everything back into each other once I get them up. So the two extra scales that I forgot will be in their own video probably next week. The other video I have coming up, which I've been referring to as a secret project that I can't talk about for the past few weeks. If anyone's been watching the live shows, you might know what I'm talking about there. And I've brought it up on a few after shows as well. So I almost don't want to say anything. So I talked earlier tonight about being down. I talked earlier tonight about being on a vacation down in Tennessee. Where I went to was to fellow YouTuber Josh Waddy, aka Josh Waddy 16, aka Josh R, aka the most beast mode artist on YouTube. I went down to his place. He got married. I got to go to his wedding, and we also shot a video. We shot a video together. First YouTube collaboration really that I've done, and that video is going to be a dual time lapse. It's going to be him painting and me painting, sort of side by side in the video. And that one, we got to send some files back and forth, and it's going to probably take another couple weeks to edit before the actual upload finishes. But he'll have a version on his channel. I'll have a version on this channel, and that video will be coming up relatively soon. So look forward to that. It's one of those things that's like I can't wait till I actually get everything together and everything comes back together and I release it. But yeah, really cool thing there. So look forward to that coming up on the channel. Other than that, I think that's about it. Thanks for everybody for tuning in to this episode, first episode of the new series, Cinder Block Studios Live. Look forward to a new episode. I would like to do them every week. I don't have a specific day. I don't like putting myself on that big of a schedule for a live show because I don't know when I'll have either the energy or the really ability to do a live show like this. If you would like updates on it, head over to the DMC Films and Cinder Block Studios Google Plus page. Be subscribed over there. Be subscribed to the main channel. Follow on Twitter, my Twitter account, @CinderBlockArts. And as well as, I occasionally post to DeviantArt, but not so much about the live shows. And if you're on Twitter, if you're on Google Plus, or if you're on Facebook, my Facebook fan page, Cinder Block Studios, you can head over there. Links to all that stuff is on the channel page. And if you can't go to the channel page or something's wrong with that, you can always go to my website, cinderblockstudios.com, or send me an email, cinderblockstudios@live.com. I think that's all my information. Dede, do you want to give your information out one more time about where they can find your work?
Mostly I'm on Ustream at Coffee and Art in the morning, and we can't keep tons of content on Ustream anymore. So there's probably maybe 10 to 15 videos at a time, but they're like 3 hours. So there's lots of content, but it's in big chunks. And it's Coffee and Art in the morning on Ustream. You can find me there, or Inkwell, either one on Ustream. That's pretty much where you'll see my live shows.
All right. For additional info on both Dede and Lucas, who was here earlier, I'll have that stuff in the description box below. Hopefully within the week. I also like to try and get time codes up, but I don't always get around to them. I've a number of the live shows. I'm like 20 or 30 of them that I don't have time codes for. So if I don't get around to it, don't hold it against me. A great way to watch live shows is just to flip them on in the background of whatever else you're doing and just kind of play them like podcasts or longer form content while you're either sketching or working on whatever you happen to be working on. So that's about it for this. Between Dede, Lucas, and I, thanks for watching. This has been from DMC Films and Cinder Block Studios. Subscribe for more videos, and see you guys next time.